All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is David Cardenas. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Today, the session is Can Sustainability be profitable for hotels? Hopefully, I can say sustainability better during this presentation. So I want to welcome everybody here. We have an amazing group of panelists. As I said, my name is David Cardenas. I am the Dean of the William F. Harrah College of Hospitality, the #1 hospitality program in the United States. Today, I'm going to let each of our panelists introduce themselves. I have a whole group of questions here. I'm going to surprise them on a few. Hans, you want to start and tell us who you are?
Good afternoon, or good morning, I should say. My name is Hans Vriends. I run ADA North America. ADA is this amenities company, probably the largest in the world that you've never heard of. We sell shampoos, conditioners, lotions, etc. to hotels in the world. But more than 30,000 hotels in the world have us in 68 countries. But we're not very big in America, and that's why we're here. We grew since the 70s or something, not because we have great brands and wonderful fragrances, but because the person who started this company was an engineer. And he thought you could actually make amenities better. And this is an example of this. We all know that you have these pump dispensers in your room. He was the one who thought that you should turn this around. And then you don't need a pump anymore. Less plastics, etc. Now, if you go in the Germanic countries to a hotel, 90% of hotels have this type of packaging. That's how big it is. In America, we're still learning about this. That's my introduction.
I want to know where you've been keeping that. In your pocket? I'm Daniel Scheffler. I'm a travel writer. I work for the New York Times and a bunch of other publications, and I have a show with iHeartRadio called Everywhere, and I'm about to launch, because I didn't want to give all my money to iHeartRadio, I'm launching my own show called Without Maps. I have stayed at almost 3,000 hotels now, some wonderful, some horrible. Ask me afterwards if you'd like to know which ones are horrible. Not the Venetian. And 140 countries. I'm on the road 250 days a year. I spent more than $100,000 with United this year, and according to them, I couldn't go into the lounge yesterday because no. So I guess we have to spend more money. But it is the Trump era, so we will be making more money and we will be spending more money. So that's good. Travel writer, storyteller. What else should I tell you? I live on the coasts, Los Angeles, Carmel, and New York, but I'm South African for my sins. A nice Jewish boy that left Africa and went to Europe. I mean, the path was set for me, and now I just travel and write about it. So that's me.
Hard to follow.
I'm sorry about that, but the Venetian.
My name's Anna Schmid. I am the Vice President of Communications and Corporate Social Responsibility at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas. That includes internal comms, public relations, community, and sustainability. I've been there about 9 years, but about 30 years in total in the hospitality industry in just about every segment of it, and happy to be here.
Good morning again. Ron Pohl with World Hotels, but also with BWH Hotels, I oversee the sustainability program globally for our organization.
Thank you guys so much. I do believe we have a panel of experts, very diverse, so I really appreciate it. So sustainability is something that is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I started studying at a very early stage in my career. I remember reading the Brundtland Report in 1987 when it first came out, part of the Rio Summit in 92, also talking more about it. It seems like it's something that we've been talking about for a very, very long time, and when it first came out, it seemed like a four-letter word, and people were kind of scared about it. They talked about it from a kind of a standoffish perspective, and we were really initially talking about it from a eco-lodge perspective and using sawdust for toilets and how people were kind of scared. And thinking about it now in today's day, are we talking about luxury and sustainability? It's a pretty cool and amazing thing. So the first question is the title. Can sustainability be profitable in hotels? And I'm going to start with you, Hans.
And the resounding answer is yes. And when it is, And when hotels understand it can be, we can maybe do a little less greenwashing and actually get going. Now, I'll give you an example how in our part of the business, sustainability can be incredibly profitable. Over the last couple of years, hotels, especially luxury hotels, have been moving to larger containers for shampoos and conditioners. And of course, when you have these small one-day portions, like here in the hotel, your housekeeping comes by and throws them away. They throw away more than 30% of the product. That's product waste. That's plastic waste. But more importantly, if you're a buyer at a hotel, that's money wasted, because 30% product wasted is also 30% less spend if you don't have to throw that away. So moving to refillable bottles like that one, or any other, is a really good idea. You'll be saving plastics, you'll be saving product, and you'll be saving money, so it can actually be profitable. Now, do remember, amenities are products that hotels don't like to buy, because they're going to give them away. There's no money in it. So if you can be sustainable and if you can make money, it's an interesting proposition. I'll give you one more example. Next door, we have this huge booth. It's almost a little embarrassing how big it is. But in that booth, we show an automated refill machine. So you can actually, you don't have to get an arm like Arnold Schwarzenegger when you pump and housekeeping refills the bottle. You can all do this automatically. These kind of machines increase the adoption of this kind of innovation. And it is proven in Europe to save about 95% plastics. And again, product waste is less. So I think there are good examples, and this is just one of many that hotels can adopt. I think there's money in sustainability, yes.
Thank you.
I
Daniel?
want to know why they attach those things to the wall. Like, then I feel like, oh, you don't want me to steal this lovely bottle of Diptyque.
And that's exactly why they do it.
I guess we've become so used to taking that home, because my guest bathroom, of course, 3,000 hotels, I have three. It's like somewhere I put my OCD. Like, I don't have a lot of it, but I have a little of it. But it's in my guest bathroom in my house in California. And when you open it, I always tell guests when they arrive, enjoy the bathroom. My friend Susie, my conference wife, she's coming to visit soon, and she will enjoy this area.
We'll make sure that you have a bracket for your bathroom, so that nobody steals it out of your bathroom.
Well, when you open it, no, the point is that you're supposed to take whatever you want. It's all swag that I've been gifted, like, and stuff that I got at hotels, but the products are so good. Like, if you stay at like Villa d'Este, I don't know about the Venetian, but if you stay at these fabulous hotels, they give you all this beautiful amenity product. So I guess I'm taking it. Not good for the...
It's better that you take the amenities than the television.
I have one of those.
So, yes, for you as a travel writer, and definitely.
Yes, okay. I guess my focus is never profitability, right? Like, I'm not looking at this from a profitability place, but I guess for me it's about the experience, right? Like, if you go to these places, so take this for instance as a good example. You go to Singita, which is in Africa. It's probably it's like the Amman of Africa, right? It's like really, well, the Amman of yesteryears. Like, very few people go, so you feel like it's yours. You go and they run at a 40% occupancy, and you're able to really immerse yourself on the safari experience, right? When people say to me, what's the one thing that I should do? Can you imagine people ask me this all the time? Oh, you're a travel writer, what's your favorite place? Snooze. Or they ask me where I should go. And I'm always like, we should go to Africa, right? And I always say South Africa, because in South Africa you can get to see the Big Five, you're guaranteed, and you can go to Cape Town, and it's very beautiful. So you go to Singita, it's very expensive, but if you are, so I don't have to pay, I can get to go for free. But if you get to go, one of the things that's really odd, besides for the black people dancing for the white people, that's a constant issue they have in Africa, which they're thinking about how to do that better, is that they have this, you can get any whiskey you want, any wine you want, any product from anywhere in the world, it's available to you in the bush. I mean, you barely get phone signal, but you're able to get some 1998 perfect Shandong, whatever you want. They fly all that stuff in. Oh, the salmon, it's coming from Norway. No salmon in South Africa. So that stuff is coming in. But I hung out with the designers of Singita, and it was really interesting because guests were like, well, this feels weird, right? Why am I here? I want all these luxuries, but how bad is this for the planet? What is this actually doing? So for my 40th birthday recently, I went to Zambia, and I sat with the Singita designers. We were all on this trip together. We've been friends for a long time. And they were like, this has to come to an end. The sustainability part of it, we can't say we're sustainable and trying to do all this good stuff, but yet we fly in all this product from all over the world. And maybe luxury is not actually having all of these things. Maybe luxury is, I have hand-selected for you the best gin. So you can have gin, the best, unbelievably, organic, incredible gin made by some nun in the Scottish Highlands. I don't know whether they make gin somewhere. Or one bottle of the best French champagne. That's it. You don't need a selection of 12. So maybe the idea of, okay, so that could be profitable, I guess, because it's not profitable to fly in on bush planes, all these products. But the idea of the curation, I think, is what's key to me. That's more luxurious than me just being able to have everything I want. Right? At some point in, when everything is available to you, you can have anything you want. I mean, we're in Vegas. Anything you want is available to you in a radius of a mile from us right now. Well, then it's not that exciting. I'm kind of well, I'll go for lunch with my friend. I can have anything I want, but when they give you a curation of the most incredible product, that becomes more luxurious for me. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yeah. Hannah, how about you?
What's the question?
So, can it be profitable?
Did I tangent
I
us
thought this
too
would be.
far?
I thought this would be the easiest one. Yes.
I'm kidding.
That would be quick. So yes.
Yes, I think it will be in the future. I think when you look at the mega resort, we're 7,100 suites. We have a long way to go in general to get to that point, and it's straddling sustainability with guest experience. And I think it also straddles the different segments of business and the way that you lean into them with that messaging. So yes, I think we can get there.
Thank you, Ron.
I absolutely agree. The only other element I would add to that is as we meet and talk with corporate buyers, it's essential. And while they have budgets for the financial groups that they may have staying at hotels, they also have a sustainability budget for staying at hotels. So you may not be considered for existing business and or future business because they have compliance and regulations that they have to abide by. And if a hotel is not adhering to some sustainability practices, carbon footprint, whatever the case may be, you lose that business. So you can't afford to not be sustainable.
Great. I'm going to stay with you, partly because of what you showed earlier today. But can you share some of the efforts that are being made right now with respect to sustainability for guests, and how do you communicate that information? Oftentimes, a lot of the efforts that we do are unseen, and oftentimes, we're spending 90% of our efforts on energy and things behind closed doors, water. How do you share that with our guests? So, can you share a little bit about what's being done, and how do you get that message out to your consumer?
Yeah, absolutely. This past year, we put an initiative in place that all BWH hotels, which is more than 4,300 hotels around the world, have to be Green Key certified or the equivalent through GSTC by the end of next year. So that's the commitment that we needed to get out there for the hotels to really take this seriously and as a global brand be able to communicate what our messages are and our commitment to that. So that's the first step in that. What we also learned is the requirements around the world are very, very different. So partnering with the GSTC and what is recognized and or certified with them really does work on a global scale, instead of saying, well, you must have bulk amenities in all of your guest rooms. Well, some places that's important and some it isn't. So anyway, that's our first step. And then with that, we communicate that on all the website, all the booking channels that we have that say this, hotel is green certified by a recognized agency, not by something that BWH said, okay, well, you're sustainable. And that's really what I think customers are looking for, is authentic commitment to and through a recognized source, not your own.
Great, thanks. And I know that the Venetian does a lot of work in this area as well. You've got some committees that are set up. You've done a lot of work behind the scenes. Can you talk a little bit about that and share some of the programs that you have, and especially with the meeting planners that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. We, just as I was mentioning before, when you're talking about our leisure guests, you really do feel like they're coming to kind of get away from the heaviness of the world and to let it go in Vegas. And so our messaging toward them might be just the simple messaging that you would see in a room, or the things that they might easily notice that we're taking part in sustainability, but they do not see all of the things that are going on behind the scenes. Our very robust water conservation strategies, our donations for slightly used items, everything from our nano water filtration system to green programs that we have with our employees, who are our biggest advocate, our 8,000 plus employees that are out there speaking to our guests, that they know that what we are partaking in is very important to us, and it has been for almost 2 decades. But on the meeting planner side is where we can really lean in with our events and our convention goers, as you were mentioning. They do have strict guidelines that they want us to adhere by, and we have been able to do that for many years. But they've also been great partners in us to be able to collaborate to build new programs. And one specifically that we did recently, or that we've launched, we've been in the food rescue business for many, many years, back since 2014 or so. But leading into a couple years ago, we were realizing that we could do more, and so we partnered with a local nonprofit. We built a program out over a year. We work with our meeting planners, our convention goers, to rescue all of the food that is prepared but not served, and gets out into the community almost the same day. So we call it the Food Rescue Alliance. In February, it was recognized by the White House and the White House Challenge, and this year we'll rescue about 200,000 meals that go directly out into the community with almost no waste. So that was really not only the inspiration of what is core to who we are at the Venetian as stewards of our planet, but also just great partnership and collaboration with our meeting planners and that huge segment of our business that is already asking, demanding, and really leaning into wanting to be more sustainable, and also community give back in all of their in-market events. So that's been really successful for us, and we're excited to see that evolve.
Follow up on that. So how do you develop these programs, and what's the driver behind it? So is it just, do you have a group of people that are doing that? Is it customers asking for it? So how are these being developed, and why are they being developed?
I think they're mostly being developed. Well, the Food Rescue Alliance, for instance, we had been doing that for a long time, but it was not efficient. We had different organizations coming in from all over the place that were great, and all had the great intentions and doing great work in the community. But we also have the logistics of getting those in and out of our expo center, and also just the flow of business and flipping an event so quickly that you needed to figure out what that looks like. Where we couldn't store it on property. We didn't want to turn into that being a core business. We needed a partner that could take it off property and do it properly, safely, had the direct network into the community. But we also had the need from our client that was saying, what are you doing if there is any food left over? We want to know, we want transparency, we want reporting on the back end. So we've had a green concierge program in place for many years as part of our green meetings, but we were able to expand that to provide post-event reporting so that they have all of the information that they can also take to their stakeholders, their attendees, that says, this is what we saved, this is what we accomplished, this is what we gave back. And so it's come from not only the voice of the customer, but also us evolving throughout the years to see how we could do things better. And there's so many other areas that we could do the same same sort of process in, but it's just, one step at a time, having the right partners, and then also having the meeting planners be on board with us.
Awesome, thanks. So Daniel, I'm going to change the question a little bit for you. So how should luxury share their message when oftentimes some of these are behind the scenes, oftentimes corporate decisions that are being made to save costs or thinking about waste? Those aren't necessarily sexy. Those aren't necessarily things that sell. We're talking about customer experience for our clients. How could we do a better job of communicating and sharing that message with our consumer?
I know, it's the worst thing when they're like, hang this towel up if you don't want it cleaned. Let me tell you, so this morning, I don't know, I'm leaving for Brazil, but I think my body's already there, so I woke up at 4. I was like, I'm on Brazil times. So then I was like, okay, maybe I'll be in a robe. Maybe I'll get a coffee and I'll be in the robe. Oh, I'm just here for one night. I don't know if I should use the robe. I guess it's bad if I'm just going to use it for 30 minutes because then I'm going to go to the gym. And then I wanted to clean something off my bag. And then I was like, oh, I have to use this towel, but there's no small towel. I guess I have to use a big towel. And I'm going to only use it for this, so I was already piling up. Now I've used a robe, I've used towels. Then I went to the gym, and then I was like, oh, I should go for a run. That's what I should do. But now I've already used the towel, and then I was like, oh. So I just kept adding more. So I've used everything, right? I've used every thing, and but I'm here on work. Like, I travel all the time, and I think the customer or the guest, I don't know, we don't want to think about it. That's just the truth. Like, yes, in theory, it's lovely. Okay, we should save the planet. But, like, big corporations should do that. Right? I drive an electric car and I don't eat meat. I've done a lot. I don't have children. I've done a lot. Right? But like, now I must also not use a towel. Like, right? Like my husband, we were at a hotel the other day and he had like 3 towels. And I was like, that's a lot of towels. And I was like, yeah, but it's the behavior, right? It's like, it doesn't feel luxurious if I can only get one tiny towel. So I don't know. I think the messaging annoys me. As the guest, I'm like, oh, you're skimping on this. Now I can't have that. Oh, this is green, so I can't do this. Or I'm not allowed to use that. And it just feels, look, it's like we're about to go into an era of like deregulation, right? So a lot of these things were regulated, and now they will deregulate all this, right? Like, you must buy an electric car by 2030. That's going to go away. So people are going to be able to have choice again, and then it's going to be up to the Venetian to put that stuff in. But I just think we don't want to be prescribed to in the way that they're doing it currently. That's nothing against you, but it's just more as like an idea of like, you do it on the back end, I don't want to feel it as the guest. Is that terrible? Maybe.
Does it annoy you if it's being done unauthentically? Because if you're in like a lodge in Costa Rica and they're talking about
Right.
their messaging, their eco-messaging, it feels like it's part of their brand.
Appropriate, right.
But if you're in...
I always think they're lying. Maybe that's what I'm always like, oh yeah, you're going to do this towel, but I'm sure that none of you are, driving electric cars. But I just think it's so much greenwashing and it's so much nonsense. And now you're putting it on me. Like, it's like, how dare United Airlines, love them, how dare they tell me I must give carbon credits money for the flights I've done? Forget it. Like, that stuff, you cannot put that on the consumer. To me, that feels like, and some of the hotels are like, well, don't use this, don't do that, switch the lights off, and I'm like, no, I want to come to a room with lights on. I don't know. I'm South African. Like, I'm concerned for my safety.
Thank you, Daniel. So I'm going to see if do you want to add?
Stop me right there.
Do you want to add anything to that part? Because I want to focus on the regulation part too. So do you want to?
Because I think we heard we're talking about profitable sustainability, and I think we heard some beautiful examples there. When Ron talks about using these recognized labels like Green Key for hotels, I think that is a wonderful example of an independent organization who sets a number of sustainability standards that you should simply adhere to, and then you can use their label to advertise. And if you do that in a smart way, you'll get more revenue. So it's a very beautiful example of making sustainability profitable. The other one, food waste. Food waste is probably the largest waste problem any hotel struggles with. Correct me if I'm wrong. So using the food waste like the Venetian does, and enriching the community, but using it to get stronger community ties is a very smart way of using a waste. Because it strengthens your community, and because of that you'll get more engaged guests, or sorry, more engaged guests, but also more engaged workers, and that will help your bottom line. So I think these are beautiful examples of how you can be more profitable in sustainability programs.
Great. So Daniel started talking about regulation. So I want to kind of get to that question. So how can hotels balance regulatory compliance, such as the modernization of Cosmetic Regulation Act or the extended producer responsibility with profitability and opportunity for innovation? So Hans, this is for you. So any insight on that?
Yeah, this is, it's called MOCRA, and maybe your hotel has heard about it or not, but it's essentially a cosmetics act, so it applies to these kind of products. And MOCRA is nothing else but a copy of a set of laws that was adopted in the EU 10 years ago, and everybody complained about it when there was new legislation, and then we found out what that does. And what it does is very interesting. MOCRA is nothing else but a quality standard that you have to meet. If you're going to give something away, make sure it's good what you give away. And so it makes sure that what's in this bottle is actually what's on the bottle. Now, in America, I've used some products, and a lot of it gets shipped across an ocean. This is a lot of water, and this water gets shipped across an ocean from China, and most of the time what's in this product is not what's on the product. And what happens, and in the US the numbers are staggering, 1 out of 2 of these bottles, of these liquids, is contaminated. And that's an issue. Now, your guests are not going to complain because they use this product for a while, and then they go away after 2 or 3 days, and then they get the skin irritation 5 days later, and they don't put 1 and 1 together. So they're never going to complain to you. Now, MOCRA actually addresses this stuff, and it makes the producers of this responsible. So if a guest ever complains, you can go back to the producer and complain about it. And in America, that's good news. You have enough lawyers to do this kind of work. So it's really cool. But what you should be doing, of course, if you're interested in sustainability, is stop making this stuff in China. Make it in America. Don't import it. Probably also a good idea with the new administration that's coming in, is going to slap 60% tariffs on stuff from China. This is going to be more expensive if you get it from China. So get it from America. It's simple, very simple. So this law is a quality standard that is good to adhere to. We've seen how it works in the EU. There's no product from China anymore in the EU. That's what will happen here.
Any other thoughts on regulations with respect to sustainability, the profitability of it? I know that when sustainability was first introduced, there were a lot of concerns about that because people are like, we're going to have to do this, and I can only take 2-minute showers, and you know, thinking about it from that perspective, any concerns or aspects with respect to compliance or regulation and sustainability to the rest?
Well, I actually think the weird thing about it is like, it's like, now I've gone to your dry cleaner, now I must review you. Now I've done this plane, I've done every single thing I do in my life, like from the fucking moment I woke up, excuse me, till the moment I go to bed, I'm like, oh, I have to review this too, and you give me nothing. So maybe it's about like, oh, you want me to not use the towels, or you want me to not do, you want me to use the bigger bottles, all the things. Great, I'm happy to do that, but you should incentivize me. Maybe that's the capitalist dream, right? Like incentivization for this. Yeah. Maybe that's what I suggest.
Okay. I'm going to move on to thinking about...
Not you personally. You don't have to personally incentivize me. The Venetian.
One of the things with respect to sustainability is coming up with new ways of doing certain things. Technology is a big part of that. So can you talk about the role of technology and sustainability, where you are, what new technology advances are happening within your organization, both that can be seen or might not be seen, and even thinking about it not only from a technology perspective, but even non-technology solutions for sustainability. And Ron, I'm going to give it to you.
Sure. I think there's a couple things, and they are behind the scenes. You know, a high cost area for hotel operations are laundries. And whether, or if you outsource it, it's still a high cost area. And how you wash the products matters as well. How much water you use, how much chemicals you use, are you using hot water versus cold water? So there's technology with the equipment that you can do it more efficiently, which is critically important. Personally, I focus a lot on water usage. I think it's it's something that none of us can survive without, and we waste a lot of water around the world. And we use a lot of plastics in bottled water. So I think there are practices that we can put in place that can help us without offending the customer. That we can put in place that just make a lot of business sense to do it. You know, COVID taught us that, reminded us, and we knew it all along, that not every guest wants their room cleaned. But we felt the need because we were hoteliers. Well, we're cleaning every room whether you want it or not. Well, coming out of COVID, people said, stop cleaning my room. And I think that's a great practice. And whether it's luxury to economy, a lot of guests just prefer not having people in their rooms. That saves a ton of money. We don't change our sheets every day. You know, all of those types of practices, while they're not regulated, while it's not big technology, it's, you know, keep it simple. Start with these basics that have tremendous impact on a global, industry.
Great, thank you. Anna?
Sure, I think that innovation, more than just technology, will always be a part of the eco journey for any resort or any business. We are 25 years young this year, I guess. We had a big 25-year celebration, and what we embarked upon was a $1.5 billion reinvestment into the property. And so really what comes along with that is our design and development team is looking at every piece of that design and remodel and where sustainability cost savings fits into that. So I think that for any organization, it's always easier to start from the ground up being more sustainable than trying to retrofit it. Luckily with the Palazzo Tower, which we opened in 2008, we took that march early, becoming LEED certified and starting from the beginning. But if you were embarking upon a remodel or a redesign, that is the opportunity to look at new technology, to look at cost savings, to look at efficiencies, and to look at new processes. So even with our recent convention redesign and remodel, $200 million that we're in the middle of, we just completely revamped our entire signage package. So taking all of the signage material off the floor, reducing that cost, but also developing a revenue stream with a solution that was more sustainable. And, obviously when you're in these enormous properties in Las Vegas, trying to find your way around, and then pathways, wayfinding, changing on a daily basis. I mean, we have a connection directly to the Sphere right behind us, but the pathway to the Sphere through our property has 7 different ways depending on what is happening in the building each way. And if we were sending out people with signage every single day to try to change that, it would be impossible. So the financial investment that we put into the signage package throughout the property was not only helping us to achieve our sustainability goals, but also working with our customers to transform the space to how they want it to be, and providing a better guest experience while leaning into new technology.
Well, and just adding on to that, as you go through your renovation of the guest rooms, something we don't think about are mattress and box springs. Mm-hmm. Platform beds are now in. It's not a bed that you have to leap onto to get up to it. And you think about the disposal of all of the old mattresses and box springs, tremendous challenge. So the industry, I think, has evolved a little bit with that. Now it's buying mattresses that can be disposed of easier than what we've done in the past.
Yeah, and thinking about it from the entire process of sustainability, from the purchasing, from what we're giving to the client, from our technology, even how we hire. So it needs to be embedded into everything we do. So that's a great example. Daniel, so you've traveled a lot, And you talked about some of the challenges that you've had, or some of the things that you've seen. What are those? What are one or two things that you've seen recently? Like, wow, that's so cool. People should be doing it this way. You know, we should. This is a new technology that I saw in my room. That's like, I wish every room had this. Or there's a new system here. Yes, the towel thing's old, but what are those new things that you've seen out there recently? They're like, man, this could be incorporated into a luxury brand that we should be using in our.
Not the robots. Let me tell you that. Every hotel I'm now going, that's like, a robot will send me some room service. I'm like, I don't want that. It's so hard because I actually don't like many of the examples. Like, I do travel a lot, but none of these really feel like it's lovely that now I don't have to speak to the front desk person because I can check in by myself, but it never works, right? So now I'm like in some hell that I'm trying to figure out how to get to the place. Speaking of signage, I spent most of last week trying to find my way around the MGM for the Formula One. I was like, am I still in the area? Have I now left for the thing? So they're obviously trying to cut costs, and therefore now I'm lost in an MGM world. It took me like a full weekend to get out. I think the examples that I'm seeing in a tech way that's smart is like, I don't know, maybe in Asia, like they're putting in stuff that feels more intuitive, right? So like, I'm able to communicate with the hotel in a way that feels new to me, that feels more empathetic and feels kind. Whereas like, because the training behind that AI is becoming better, right? So like, yeah, you want to put in all this AI tech stuff, but I'm always like, I spoke to United Airlines for months on the text thing. Oh, change this flight, do this thing, without realizing that it was not a human. Like, that means it's improving. And apparently, so I know the one of the C-suite people, and they told me that, yeah, they've been training with all these fancy hotels in Hong Kong and Shanghai because they've been, you know, they've found that those are the ones that they've had success with the AI. So like, you know, you're on whatever iPad they give you and you're chatting with the thing. It's a bot, and you're staying at like the fabulous, but they're getting better at it. So that's tech stuff I think is nice. But then to flip that for you is like, I also think the opposite of all the tech stuff is nice, right? Like the human interaction, like the human connection thing is still something we really want so desperately. So how do we put that into place? Like, I think if you came to me at you know, you're staying at a hotel in Costa Rica, and you came to me and you explained to me mano a mano, like, I think I would understand it better. Like, there's a great example at the Aman in Vietnam. When I arrived, Amanoi, they were like, we're training our entire group of staff. They don't speak English. They've moved from literally that village you see down the street, and this is their first time interacting with humans outside of their village. So they don't speak English properly, but they're training. They are not westernized in the way that you are. So you will be in a very different place in the world, right? And immediately it activated some empathy for me. So instead of me being like, oh God, I'm so annoyed, I just wanted my tennis rackets and this person doesn't understand, I was like, oh, they don't speak English. I should be, and they sort of preempted the whole experience for me. They were like, just so you know, they don't speak English. They're training. Like, this is what we're trying to do here. We're employing people to better their lives. And if you have a problem, they know to call a manager for you that can help you. So immediately my sort of, you know, my like snootiness went away. I was immediately like nicer about it. Oh, okay. And that's the way that I think the whole way we need to think about sustainability is like that, right? If you came and spoke to me in a nice way about it, not in a kind of regulatory, weird, we have to do it this way because it's best for us, like I care, like that would be a nicer way of doing it. Yeah, I'd love to help you. I'd love to make your hotel greener. I'm sure it's good for the planet. But there are hotels where like they tell me it's green because my room card is made of wood and there's like a water station somewhere in the hotel that I can never find. you know, on Sunset. And I'm like, this is not green. I don't want to be lied to. I want you just to come, like, be real about it. And then I'm like, great, I'm on board. Does that make
I think
sense?
this speaks to, I think, if you're interested in employing sustainability programs anywhere but in hotels, what you're speaking to is that the people who do this need to be genuinely interested in the program, genuinely believe in this, instead of hunting, trying to hunting the standards of somebody imposing upon you. If you genuinely, as a hotel, believe that the measures you take help the planet or in some way or another and help your bottom line, you're going to be super successful at it. Don't do stuff because other people tell you to do it. Do it because you believe it's the right thing. And that goes from the CEO down to the person at the desk. Because if they believe that whatever they're doing actually makes a positive impact, that's what you're going to communicate, and that's what your guests will respond to.
Awesome. So I have one final question, and anybody can answer. Sustainability is a big topic that we talk to our students about. For them, what recommendations would you give to them for somebody who's interested? What kind of skill sets do they need? What kind of experiences should they be getting if they want to go into luxury and sustainability?
Well, I know when I speak to students at hospitality, and it's not, I mean, I'm speaking just specifically to the resort world, is that you're looking at, you know, whether it's sustainability or any other topic, it's still the, you know, the basis of what you're studying is hospitality. So it is still the human connection. It is still, you know, being in the building. I was asked a question recently about, you know, what are you doing about the people that want to work from home? And I'm telling them to find a different industry, because we are in the hotel industry, and even though there are several segments of it that you could probably do from home, if hospitality is your passion, then you will probably be in the building. And if you don't want to do that, then you should probably look at something else. But when it comes to sustainability side, I think that, you know, the Zs, the alphas, are going to be the generation that can pull AI and technology into making these sustainability opportunities more cost savings, you know, for the building, as well as more authentic for the guest, as well as more intuitive, so that you feel like you're always dealing with a human. I mean, I think that they have. They're the future of doing that. But I think that when I speak to students, I also say that you also have to embed that with the core foundation of hospitality, because it still comes down to the human connection. If we can make that human connection better through technology, through sustainability, I think that's fantastic, but we have to start with the core.
I think that human connection thing is the most interesting one, I think, for students. If you truly want to make an impact, then do things that are real. Many students these days, and you know this better than I, are looking for purpose. And sustainability is a beautiful purpose if you're genuine about it. If you're just greenwashing, you know, it's nonsense. But if you're genuine about it, I think many students get excited. As long as, and you can only be genuine if you feel in your heart. So I think there's huge opportunities for students to give meaning to their job in hospitality.
Awesome. Ron?
I would say that I've been asked that question more by applicants and students than us talking to them about it. And they'll, as Hans said, they'll know whether you're authentic about it. You know, are you walking the talk or not? And they want to be a part of an organization that has a commitment to it. We all know it's the right thing to do, but how are you actually doing it, or is it just lip service? And they're committed to it. The younger generations are absolutely more committed than the rest.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like, I do feel like we know that it's the right thing to do, but I don't think everyone does. Like, I think they've been sold it in such a lie way that they're not bought in on it. That's why the kids didn't vote. if it's so important to you to save the planet, shouldn't you have gone to vote? Shouldn't you have done something? I mean, the American election, they did not discuss sustainability or the climate, not once. So if it's so important to the kids, this younger generation, well, what are they doing? So I don't know if everyone knows. I feel like they've been sold it in a weird way, so now they're resisting it, and it's not on the TikTok, so how can we resell it to them? Send them to the ashram, I think, right? Like, go to the ashram and go understand how humans really work. Like, I was a horrible human, and then I went to the ashram at age 20, and I became a much nicer human because I understood how human connection and how the planet and how important sustainability and all the other things, empathy, human connection, I understood it all from the ashram. Northern India, nowhere for $5 a day, where I, the privileged, boy from Africa, I had to clean, I had to feed people, I had to wash other people's yoga mats, I had to serve people to eat. I had never served anyone. I had only ever been served. And that stuff is what made that, it helped me understand all of it. And then you see the melting ice cap while you're doing all this, so you understand the warming of the planet. I don't know, send them to the ashram, the kids.
Well, we've gone over time, so really, really appreciate it, Ron and Daniel, Hans. Really, I appreciate it. I think we definitely had experts up here. We had diverse opinions, which was great, and we really, really appreciate it. So a round of applause for that.
Thank you.